how relevant it is. So you might not be able to pick it up on video. But if I was installing home security, I would put all kinds of lines and wiring all through here to pick up any old white noise, how to cancel out some of the stuff that's going on around you. Like, I look at my family and I say, well, what have been the first things that I'm concerned about? Like, I would have to know what's going on with the boats, the bikes, how to secure it, put it aside, put it garage, put things away, make sure that you have everything basically put away so it's secure. Naturally, I'm looking at some of the things that are going on in my home, and maybe some old threatening, situations that might, put me at unnecessary risk, or something that I would feel like at this point would be, just some basic things like, I'm not worried about clothes and stuff. I'm more concerned about just making sure that we maintain a healthy way of life. So, yeah, so how I would do it normally, I'd spend the weekends making beds. I'd find a way to, like, how to install it, put it in like a closet. Like, I would learn how to get creative, like compartmentalize some things. So if I can't physically get up and do it, I would show somebody how to do it. So I would make sure that I would have the, the heavy chains, and I would make sure like you could buckle it up, and like turn the rim into, basically put something, in a wall, or even like a built-in closet kind of thing, and I would build it into the closet, and something you could take with you. So there are ways you can do things on IKEA.com, or you can go check out some things that you can do to make your home safer, and more secure. Home security, though, looking online, what I've already looked into, you would have to basically either do a DIY, or some. You basically have to send somebody in, and installation fees are like $300 to $500, and that's just general security. Most people don't really think about home security. Since the shooting in Pittsburgh, though, and obviously since the last couple of years, and since I know firsthand, having been assaulted, that I do not feel comfortable unless there's lamps out and LifeLock and a lot of security things that I can do to make my life a little bit more saner, make my home a little safer. And for me, after all these assaults, and I wish it wasn't like this, but as far as I'm concerned, once somebody is assaulted, it makes life a lot easier knowing there's more security, more gates, more ways to stay protected. I would not feel safe just with anybody in my house. I would not. I would want extra guns. I would want extra everything after being assaulted. And that's why my debate on the Second Amendment is so relevant, because right now, somebody argues that why would I need a gun? Well, I'm soldier one, two. I'm also have a royal family in my family. I got members in my family that have royal ties, and I just feel like we don't have to have a drawbridge, and we don't have to have you know, a lake around our house with alligators, but I certainly think that it's not old fashioned by any stretch to have protection and safety measures in place, so that when you go get married or have a family of your own and build your own house, you don't leave your daughters out there. And I just think it's ridiculous for any parent to try to explain themselves, like, why would you want to put yourself at unnecessary risk? If you don't know what you're doing, then at least say that you don't know what you're doing. It's time for us to start having a conversation. It's long overdue. You have kids, you have family, you have children, and there's some people that need to basically sit down and think about, like, uh, co-op, swapping out, houses, swapping out cars. I'm saying this for your own safety. You guys might not be able to drive the same cars. You might have to switch some things out. you might have to really, start thinking ahead. If there's somebody assaulting you, you want to have a good group of people that you can consult with and say, hey, I gotta swap out my car. I gotta swap this out. I can't use this car anymore. It's no good. You might have to live your life differently. After you're assaulted and threatened, it becomes a different way of life. So there's things you have to do. Why do I say this? Because in 1985, it didn't take much for me to wise up. I was assaulted a long time ago. And I look around me and I'm like, no, I wouldn't put my family or anybody in unnecessary risk. I would make sure the gate is down, those locks are up. Make sure you have everything locked up before you go to bed at night. Make sure the security alarms are on. Make sure that all the other shut down. I mean, it could become a long night for us just at home. It would be no different at work. If you guys had to make sure the switch is on, you make sure the security and make sure the puppies are ready to go in and out of the house. So that's general security. So just get used to the idea that the dogs have to be in. The security, everything, basically home security. Generally, like the doors and windows have to be locked up before you leave, before you go anywhere. I mean, it could take 5-10 minutes, just depending on where we live. In Sewickley, where I worked at, I mean, there's a couple of security switches, a couple of things you have to look at. There's 5 doors in the house, so it could be a long afternoon. So, depending on where you live in Sewickley, where I worked at, and the doctor I worked for, she owned a resort in Barbados, and it still didn't stop people from stealing. So there are things you can do to protect yourself. Talk to your neighbors, talk to your family, ask questions, see if they ever worked in hotel security or any general security. There's things you can do to make your life safer. If all else fails, go down to hotel security and ask the questions you need to ask. Like, what can I do? Just say, hey, I'm just curious. Do you know anything about home security? Being as your security guard, do you know anything about it? Do you know any? Ask questions. If you don't feel comfortable, ask them online. Uh, you go right to the hotel security. There's a lot of things you can do to protect yourself without asking somebody to pay the tab.